Welcome back, everybody. So, Midway movie review. So, Midway was directed by Roland Emmerich. It stars quite a big cast in this movie as well, which consists of Patrick Wilson, Ed Skrein, Woody Harrelson, Luke Evans, Nick Jonas, Dennis Quaid, Aaron Eckhart, plus loads and loads of others. So, the Midway movie. So, for all of you guys that don't know, which I'm hoping you do know, that Midway is a battle which happened after the Japanese attacked the Americans at Pearl Harbor back in World War II. So this movie is completely based on true events, and this movie also it kind of recognizes the point that this is the turning point where America was completely neutral in World War II up until this time, and then the Japanese brought them in, and that's when obviously the Americans joined World War II. And to be fair, for the UK, that was quite good for us, to be fair, because we were struggling at that time. But generally, this movie just focuses mainly around what happens after the attack of Pearl Harbor. Now, I don't need to go too into depth with the storyline because this movie does explain it quite at the beginning of this movie, and it's not hard to follow in any way, shape, or form. They make it very, very simple. They make it very, very easy for you to actually understand, and you know, it's a very, very iconic story and a big, I would class it as one of America's greatest victories, to be fair, because it was by a little bit of luck, bit of chance with the code breakers and all that kind of stuff, which made this mission that they set themselves up to try and take out. I have to be honest with you, this a very superior Japanese naval force. By just a little bit of stroke of luck, they managed to actually do over the Japanese in this. It's a very, very good story. If you don't know the story, just do a bit of history on it or whatever. Just watch this movie, to be fair. So, the Midway movie. I went into this a little bit skeptical. I have to be honest with you. I did see one trailer of this. The reasons why I went into this a little bit skeptical is because it's being directed by Roland Emmerich, who is responsible for doing movies like Independence Day, The Day After Tomorrow, even the Matthew Broderick version of Godzilla, plus a few others. And it was made on quite a big budget of $100 million. These are the reasons why I went into it quite skeptical, or some of the reasons. Other reasons is because of the 2001 Pearl Harbor movie, which I didn't enjoy. There was a huge, it just fell off and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking that this is just going to be a big Hollywood spectacle movie with shit ton of CGI and a whacking great big love story in this and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't really going to enjoy it. How wrong could I be? It's absolutely fantastic movie. I got to be honest with you. I watched this last night and I was going to do the review last night, but I thought I'm going to just take some time to think about what I watched and think about what I was going to say in this movie review. So this is the reason why I'm doing it tonight. And I got to be honest with you, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, anybody on this channel that follows me knows I don't particularly like CGI or too much CGI in movies. I understand that certain movies have to have CGI in movies to make them work. For it to be able to produce on screen, you're going to have to put in CGI. And like I said, this is one worry I had in this movie. And yes, there is quite a fair bit of CGI, but the other worry was that there was going to be so much that I was going to struggle to follow what was going on. I didn't. I didn't struggle. I think they've done this really, really well. Okay, and I honestly do. I generally, just visually, this movie is fantastic. And I love what they did here. I just loved every single bit of this movie, just visually, and we're not even getting into the performances in this in any way, shape, or form. It has a very, very serious tone. There's a few comedic moments in here which do break up certain serious moments. I have to be honest with you, but they work really, really well. This has a very, very kind of serious tone. It's not full of blood, gore, and all that kind of stuff, but you do get that sense of what these guys have to go through and what they're going through and the sacrifice they have to make when they're going out to go and find this, I have to be honest with you, pretty much unstoppable Japanese naval force. And like I said, the CGI in here, and it's very, very realistic. I have to be honest with you. The CGI in this is very, very realistic. It wasn't a struggle to follow what was going on in any way, shape, or form. And I think it worked really, really well because it added to the tension of this movie and it added to the dramatic feel that was in this movie. And I think it was just absolutely, seriously well done. Um, I think I said this already. I'm not 100% sure. If you don't know this story, they do explain this from the beginning, and this movie follows like it. You do get to see the attack on Pearl Harbor, and then you get in the main part of this movie is the build up towards that big battle of Midway. And it does get explained kind of really, really well. It's not hard to follow in any way, shape, or form. They do explain this. They make it easy for you to explain on exactly what's going on in this movie. Because essentially what it is basically America going back after that fleet so they can attack their carriers. In other words, a little bit of revenge. What thrusted them into World War II, and it's not hard to follow it in any way, shape, or form. Now we're going on to the performances of this. I loved absolutely every single performance in this movie. Every single performance. Yes, okay, you got your sub characters which are not in it a lot, but they do play a pivotal part, and they do this very well. Even like main characters in here. Patrick Wilson is the main intelligence officer in here, so he doesn't technically, you don't see him actually in battle, but he is the key. He is pretty much the key in this movie. Him and his code breakers are the key in this movie. And I think he played this part really, really well, knowing that every character in this movie is based on a real life character. There's nothing to be made up by Hollywood as such. Maybe the extras, whatever, but the main characters in this movie are based on real people. So these are the events of what they went through, basically. And I just loved that side of it. Okay, so there was no Hollywood made up characters here. They were just all real people that were in that battle in World War II, and I think it's really, really good. Ed Skrein's performance in here, in this movie, at the start of this movie, you probably won't like him. He's probably, he comes across very arrogant, very, very cocky and all that kind of stuff, but his attitude and demeanor changes throughout this movie, which I'm not going to tell you about. You'll understand why. Woody Harrelson plays basically Nimitz, who is the person overseeing this whole operation. Okay, I really, really loved his character in this. I've never seen Woody Harrelson play a character like this before, and I think he pulled this off really, really well. I really, really did. Exactly the same with Luke Evans, Nick Jones, even Dennis Quaid's character in this is absolutely fantastic, and it even took me a little time to figure out who it was that I was watching on the screen. It was like, oh my god, that's Dennis Quaid, and this is how good it's. You know, it's really, really cool. You even got Aaron Eckhart in here, who's not in this for a huge amount in this movie, and he plays. He was the Doolittle run, basically. His name in there is Doolittle, but he done it's basically a suicide run around it before the main battle of Midway. I think they did this really, really well as well. All those performances in there, every single performance in here, whether it's like an extra or a sub character that's going on, they all played a part in here, and you really do get a sense of feel of exactly what these guys had to go through and the sacrifice they had to go through. You get to sense that fear, that kind of enjoyment, or not, or liberation, or when they. I can say that they won the battle because at the end of the day, they did, to be fair. The Americans won this battle. It's just how they did this. This is the thing you got to look out for this movie, is how they won this battle. Yes, there was a bit of stroke of luck in this, but that little stroke of luck basically changed the whole of the course of World War II for the Americans, and for Americans living on American soil. I just love this. It's, you know, I went into this movie knowing that I watched the two movies they did in the 1960s and 1970s called Toro, which would have been the attack on Pearl Harbor, and then and they made another movie a year later called The Battle of Midway. So those two movies to me are very iconic movies. I love those movies a lot, and to see a fresh, new, modern take on this movie, I generally really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it from start to finish. I went into this really, really skeptical. I was not bored in this movie in any way, shape, or form. They do explain this very, very well. I like the visuals in this as well. I like the performances in this. It's not a hard movie to follow in any way, shape, or form, because they do very much explain this very, very well. If I was to rate this movie, it would get a very, very extremely strong 10 out of 10. I know that I've got a big thing for war movies, especially war movies which come from like World War One, World War Two, because I've always had a thing about the history of World War Two. So I take a little bit more special interest into war movies because I really, really do. And it's part of history. It's part of our history. It's part of the world's history, and that's why I enjoy it. And this movie did not disappoint me. It did not let me down. It wasn't over Hollywoodized, so to speak, which was a very, very good touch. To be fair, performances in this are absolutely fantastic, and that is the reason why I'm going to give it such a strong rating as well. And I do highly recommend this movie. I really, really do. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.